and welcome to my bookshelf. Today we are going to be pulling all the books out of this sucker, sorting them, organising them, possibly getting rid of some of them, and then putting them all back in. A couple of quick housekeeping matters before I get into it too much. First of all, it is currently the Easter long weekend when I'm filming, and there are children skateboarding and screaming in the street outside my house. Apologies for that, I promise no one's being murdered, it's just kids having fun. Secondly, because I know it might look a little unusual, I just want to clarify that on this side we have some foliage walls that we have for photo shoots, and behind that are several spears, because yes, we decorate our house with medieval weaponry. With those things out of the way, I'm just gonna start pulling out some books, telling you what they are, and figuring out what I want to do with them. Basically, even though I'm calling this my bookcase, it is a combined fiction collection for me and James. Mostly they are mine, but there's definitely some authors that we got into together and we just bought their books as a couple, so it's, even though I keep saying my books, they're not really my books, but James was nice enough to move all the non-fiction out of the lowest shelves of this bookcase, so I actually get to sort everything out, because at the moment it's all double stacked, and even though double stacking is very efficient on space, I personally really don't like it, so I'm looking forward to downsizing and being able to just single stack everything. So yeah, that's about it. I'm going to turn around and start looking at some books and telling you guys what's going on. Alright, first of all, these two up here, these are ones that James picked up for me from an op shop. I think the bottom shelf is going to be my personal non-fiction and sort of kids books, because I still have a few of those that I've hung on to all the years. And I'll also make the bottom shelf my TBR, and trust me, when I get down there, I think sort of the shelf that's at butt height that you can't see currently, that's the TBR, and it's a wee bit long. Alright, what we got? Okay. We have Pratchett. Lots of Pratchett. Ooh, forgot we had that. Okay. Pratchett is staying. Pratchett is entirely staying. The question is, because we combined our Pratchett collections and have picked some up together, should I put the Pratchett I haven't read into the TBR? You know what, I should, because otherwise I might forget to get around to it. So, that means the Science of Discworld, the Folklore of Discworld, Equal Rights. Which one was Equal Rights? Equal Rights. Which one of the Granny Weatherwax ones? If so, I haven't read it. So yep, that goes in the TBR. And Lords and Ladies. I don't think I've read that either. Yeah, another Granny Weatherwax one. I mean, tell me, what's your favourite Pratchett Discworld, like, sub-series? Personally, I am a massive sucker for Moist von Lipwig. Like, just Moist and Adorabelle Dearheart are just absolute faves. Followed by like, you know, Vimes and the Night Watch. Followed by the, you know, the University. But I don't really like Rincewind, but I'm like, here for like, Unseen Academicals. This is one of my favourite Pratchett ones, after the Moist ones. But Pratchett's up there. These guys go to the TBR. Alright, then what have we got? Start at the top. The Battle for Rondo. This is one that James picked up for me from an op shop, but it's a sequel. Oh, it's like a final. And you know what, I did love Emily Rodda as a kid. I mean, not just the Del Toro Quest books, the Del Toro Quest books were phenomenal. But the Rowan of Rin books were actually my preference out of her books. But I've got so many books to read, and given that this is the last book in a series, and I really don't like going into a series without having read the rest. Like, James picked exactly what I would like, except for the fact that it's the third book in a series, so that's gonna go in the no pile. Where should I make a no pile? On the table over here. Alright, what have we got next? Okay. Let's go into the here. Oof. Okay. This stack here. Ooh, actually, I'm gonna pause because this could make for a good thumbnail. Alright, that's enough thumbnail. So this stack here is Jean Johnson's military sci-fi work. She also does like fantasy romance stuff, and I haven't had a chance to read any of that stuff yet. But I do not do military sci-fi very much, but holy crap, I love these. I mean, a criticism I've read of them, which is entirely valid, is there is a whole lot of info dumping, because yes, I remember in A Soldier's Duty, there is literally an entire chapter devoted to guns. But I don't care, her world building is so good, and I don't know. I think this is a series where you could really go one way or the other on it, but for me, I freaking love these. And I follow the author Jean on Tumblr, and it's just really cool with social media these days, where you can sometimes be like, hey, I know that person, even though you don't, and it's entirely a parasocial relationship, but it's still, you know, cool. But yes, we are entirely keeping those, but I'm just gonna put them here for now, just while I'm clearing up. Then we have the first chunk of Mercedes Lackey, and I will be talking more about Mercedes Lackey later. Then we have Star Wars. Alright, all my Star Wars books are scattered, and I don't have that many, but I've got some of the X-Wing series. This is the Wraith Squadron stuff, not the Rogue Squadron stuff, because the X-Wing series was by 2 different authors, and I didn't really like the other one very much, but this is Aaron Alston. Loved these. And then he did Mercy Kill, the like 20 years later sequel, and it fucking killed me. I think I need to reread it because I was just so angry when I first read it. I'm like, excuse me, what the fuck are you doing? Like, in a good way. It was very good storytelling, but it was also just... Alright, and I got the novelization of Rogue One, which, I'm gonna keep it for now, but okay, I'm gonna make a Star Wars pile on the floor. Oh, I am wearing some tight jeans at the moment and bending is hard. Alright, then what have we got? Okay, Gothniks. We'll start making a Gothniks pile. And again, like with Mercedes Lackey, I'll be talking about Gothniks in a bit. Alright, then we have some of the Brandon Sanderson. He gets his own pile. Then we get Neil Gaiman. Oh man. Did any of you read these as a kid? Like, I freaking love these. These are iconic, honestly. Like, just, fuck yeah. Like, when anyone's talking about what movies would you like to see made from books, give me one of these. Give me this, but treat it as an adult movie. Still keep the kid protagonists, but really amp up the themes, because these were great. Alright, what else we got? Oh, yeah, nah. Yeah, I'm keeping them. Anne McCaffrey's Freedom series. I forget what's... I don't know which one's meant to be the series title, but it's one of those things. I loved these as a teenager. I still love them now, but now I'm just like, ooh, that's a bit sexist. So I just read them with a grain of salt these days, but I still really enjoy that. What else we got? Alright, then we got a big old chunk of Tamora Pierce. I mean, basically, maybe I sound like, not trying to be a hater or anything, but the Song of the Lioness was totally, in my opinion, her weakest work in her Tortle universe. And I love everything else. I particularly love the Emmeline universe more than the Tortle universe. Don't at me. But yeah, so I've got almost everything except for the Song of the Lioness. I think, because this is not, I've only got half of the Kell books here, so the rest must be in a different shelf, so good thing that I'm doing this. Alright, we have one shelf clear. Ideally, I'll probably end up making that shelf like sci-fi because I have a lot more fantasy than I do sci-fi. But we'll see how we're going. We're getting my piles in order. Okay, let's approach this shelf. This is the Keys to the Kingdom series by Garth Nix. Now, I love Garth Nix, but I did enjoy this series. Like, I thought it was very well done overall and very well finished, but I just don't see myself reading it again. So I'm thinking I will get rid of it. Because, yeah, if I'm not gonna read it again, why bother keeping it? So into the pile. Alright, what we got now? Now we have The Ocean at the End of the Lane, that goes into the gaming pile. More Garth Nix. Ooh. Left-Handed Booksellers of London actually has to go down into the TBR pile. Bought it, haven't read it. Oh, I'm actually getting really excited about my TBR pile. I mean, at the time of posting this video, I have a reading vlog in progress because over my work break over Christmas, I got a whole bunch of new books. Well, new to me, I just went nuts in a secondhand shop one day. And I'm like, this will make for a fun YouTube video. I still haven't finished reading all those books yet, so this is why I'm trying to be a little careful about what I put in my TBR because it's already so long. But I'm getting there. I'm trying to make more time for reading at the moment because I'm really getting more into writing, as you could probably tell by the fact that I actually have like a writing vlog series that I've started on the channel now. And the more I write, the more I want to read. It's a positive spiral and I really love it. And oh, hello Panda, you wanna come say hi? Come here, let me show you to the nice internet people. Yeah, come on boy, come on boy. Yeah. Say hello to nice internet people. Huh? No? Okay, you can go back to the window, I'll put you on your cat tree. Ow! What did I trip over? I tripped over my Star Wars pile. Fine. This is slightly more strenuous than I thought it was gonna be. Hey buddy, I'm not gonna feed you. It's not feeding time. Alright, what we got? Alright, we have... See, I was so pissed because, okay, Sabriel. This is absolutely one of my foundational fantasy books. This is like the first fantasy book I ever really read, and I was lucky because this got misfiled at my local library into the kids section rather than the young adult section, and it changed my life. Like, no joke, it changed my life. This is... yeah. And then several years later, because I wasn't really on the internet as much then because I was... well, you know, it was the early 2000s, I wasn't on the internet very much. And so I didn't know, until I walked into a bookstore, that he'd continued the series, so I bought these two together, and I was so pissed off because they only had this version of a portion, and I'm still pissy about that, but I might complete my set at some point. But then, because books always get re-released with different cover art and yada yada yada, and I'm like, I want these covers, I just want them all in the same size, but oh well. Anyway, that goes into the Garth Nix pile. And yeah, I'm such a cliche book person because I am kind of contemplating getting a tattoo, maybe as like a rib piece with like charter marks and just the does the walker choose the path or the path the walker? And I'm like, I want it. But at the same time, it's really cliche and there's several other tattoos I want first, so I probably won't ever do it, but I'm thinking about it. Alright, what else we got? More, oh, that's gaming. Okay. More Garth Nix. Boop. I'd actually be curious to hear if any of you have read Angel Mage, and if so, what you thought of it, because I was really excited for Angel Mage because in the To Hold the Bridge short story collection, he had a short story which was basically a precursor to this, and I loved it. And then this was just kind of bland. Like, I didn't dislike it, but I thought the concept was cooler than the execution, so yeah, be curious to know anyone else's opinions. Oh, hi, Melon. If the camera wobbles, Melon is currently scent marking the tripod. Not my fault. They're doing that whole thing where they're like, oh no, I don't want to hang out with you, but I'll just casually be where you are, which I'm not complaining about. It is very cute. But it's just, you know, cats. Not that this is a very coherent video anyway. Alright, what we got? Tale of Time City by Diana Wynne Jones. Diana Wynne Jones is great. You know what, I'll start making a pile. Ooh, I should dust that shelf. Get my trusty dusting glove on. And dust off that top shelf. Okay, I'm going to start making a pile of just miscellaneous, because there's some authors like Diana Wynne Jones where I only have one. Ooh, Arabella of Mars. Yeah, you know what, I liked it, keeping it. City of Brass. Ooh, City of Brass. I think I will keep it. Okay, The Martian, definitely keeping it. Trader Brew Cormorant, definitely keeping it. Oh, this one was good. Do You Dream of Terror 2? I just picked it up in a bookshop once, like a first-hand bookshop, and I just really enjoyed it. Like, that's all. It's not, like, a lot of my taste in books is either stuff that I discovered as a teenager and loved and continued to love, or these days basically I'm just like, if people on Reddit and Tumblr are talking about it a lot, I'll give it a try. Because broadly speaking, if it gets talked about a lot, it's gonna be at least decent and at least somewhat enjoyable. So if I'm buying books new, I'll only buy stuff from authors I already know or like, or stuff that's pretty highly recommended, with the occasional, what am I trying to say? Occasional moments of stuff like Do You Dream of Terror 2, where one day I went, I think it was my birthday a couple of years ago, I was just like, I'm going to a bookshop and I'm buying what I want. So I did. And I also do that in secondhand shops. I buy a lot of books or go into book exchanges and just pick up a lot of books. But yeah, other than that, so what I'm trying to say is, my taste in books probably seems pretty generic, and it is, but as I get further down, you might see some stuff that surprises you. Alright, Ready Player One, keeping it. Oh, here's a prime example of, like, weird stuff. So, The Star Rigger's Way, this is a book from, when are you from? 1980. Oh, no. 1975. It looks like this edition was 1980, but 1975. So, retro sci-fi. And I loved this. The whole concept with this one is that interstellar travel is effectively your navigators or your star riggers hook into a neural network of your ship and pilot it through space by converting the reality of everything into like this dream space that they have to collaboratively work between. And this is like a guy who got stuck with an alien who he really didn't want to be a star rigger with, and just this, I don't know, it's hard to describe because, yeah, it's kind of hard to do, like, you know. Let me just read the blurb to you. In the streams of space, his rigger teammates suddenly and horribly dead, Gev Carlisle drifted in the flux, the subjective sea that carried starships at faster than light speeds, alone in the Sedora with a castaway alien. Only a complete rigger team, meshed in psychic unity, could meet the perils of the flux without disaster, and Sedora was being drawn towards the unthinkable stresses of the hurricane flume. Carlisle needed the cat-like alien's help for even a 1,000,000 to 1 chance of survival, but the price of that help was a complete merging of minds and memories, and Carlisle dreaded that union more than death. And like, I mean, yes, that's like the first chapter of the book, and then it just proceeds from there, and it was really interesting, and there is something about retro sci-fi, it has a bit more of a, it's hard to describe. A lot of sci-fi nowadays either keeps things realistic, or they really lean heavily into sort of mysticism sides of things, and personally my preference is for the mysticism side of things. But with this retro sci-fi, it is sort of leans into the mysticism side of things, as you can sort of understand by the blurb, but in a way that doesn't seem as deliberate. I don't know, it just, I get a real genuine feeling with stuff like this that space is this huge, vast mystery, whereas with a lot of modern sci-fi it's like, I don't know, it feels like, oh, we know what space is, but we're gonna pretend that there's a great big mystery. I don't know, it's I guess it's maybe the difference between space opera and sci-fi. Maybe I'm just reading the wrong books, but anyway, this was a book that James picked up for me from an op shop a few years ago, and I fucking loved it. I was so not expecting to love it, so that's a definite keep. And sorry, that was a really long ramble, but that goes into the sci-fi pile. Alright, then we've got more Mercedes Lackey. Okay, we're gonna start making a Lackey pile over here. We've got the Anne of Green Gables books, because yeah, who doesn't like Anne of Green Gables? No, don't fall over. Then what else have we got? Little House on the Prairie, that can go with Anne of Green Gables. And actually, see, one thing I enjoy with authors like L.M. Montgomery, because obviously we know Anne of Green Gables, but who's read The Story Girl? I have. But I have recently been enjoying, especially through, what's it called? What's that website called? Project Gutenberg. Reading lesser known works by some of the, you know, classic-y, oldie-timey authors. It's quite interesting. But yeah, that can go down there. Alright, what we've got here. The Goblin Emperor. I know this is another book that's very popular, and I didn't expect it to be what it was, and I was so happy it was what it was. Love this book. Oh, and then a couple of books from the Redwall series. So you know how I said Sabriel was like my sort of real kickstart into reading? I mean, I always read a lot. We're a very big reading family. I can't remember not reading ever, basically, but Sabriel really steered me towards fantasy, and as a result I was getting into the fantasy genre. And so my primary school librarian tricked me. It was the end of year 6, so you know, the end of primary school in Australia. I don't know how schools work out elsewhere. And I was helping, we were wrapping up for the school holidays, and I was helping the librarian do something in the library, and he was all casually being all like, oh, so yeah, I've got to pick books for the prizes for the upcoming school graduation thingy. Panda, stop scratching that, I'm trying to talk to the camera. Thank you, darling. And he's like, oh, what do you think would be good? And I was like, oh, blah, 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 blah. And then he gave me, and then at the school graduation thing, I was Ducks of the School, because that was a smart little know-it-all, and I got books that were like, chosen exactly to be what I told the librarian I thought would make for good prizes. And I'm like, ooh, you sneaky bastard. And one of those was Lord Brocktree. And oh my gosh, in my, like, you know, ages, like, I don't know, what would that have been, like 12 to maybe 16? Freaking loved these. I collected so many of the Redwall books, but as I grew up, I, you know, had less interest in rereading them, etc. So in the end, I kept Lord Brocktree, the one that started it all, and Mariel of Redwall, because this was my favorite, and I still think she's freaking badass. I mean, look at this cover art. Your focusing camera? I don't know if it's focusing, but yeah. Freaking love these books. So gonna keep those, and those can go into the fantasy pile up here. Alright, then we've got Patrick Rothfuss, who, we're gonna keep him, because when book 3 finally comes out, I am going to read it, and I'll probably need to read these first to refresh myself on what little plot there is. Sorry, it's a little snarky, I am not one of the fans that will ever give the man a hard time to his face, because that's just a mean thing to do. But at the same time, discussing things privately or publicly with my YouTube audience, just finish the series! Actually, why was I going to put those on the floor? They don't deserve their own pile, they just go into fantasy. Oh, then what we got? Oh, what we got here? Okay. What we have here is clumsiness, but I'm just gonna leave that there. I just dropped The Time Traveler's Wife, which, oh my gosh, I need to read that again because I fucking love that book. But I just need to read it at a time where I'm like, I'm okay to just cry when I'm finished, and lately I just haven't had the time. Then I've got a honkin' edition of the his Dark Materials, and a similar edition of the Chronicles of Narnia. Narnia I'm definitely keeping, but I'm sort of thinking I might get rid of this because, especially with the TV series coming out, well, I hope it continues to come out, I'm just kind of, I don't know, I think I would, but I just don't want to. It's basically the thing. It's so big. And I remember from this series, I loved book 1, book 2 was meh, book 3 was pretty good, and I just don't have the time to read through that much, especially when there is a good TV series coming out. So that can go into the bye-bye pile. Alright. Sorry, I'm staring intently at my camera because I'm like, how are we going? But good, I was just checking that my battery's not running out or my card's not filling up. Alright, let's put on the glove of dusting. Alright, okay, now we're getting down to my indisputably, possibly favourite author. What's this? Oh, that's Jurassic Park. That's James's. Let me put it in the James pile. I won't lower the camera because, well, then I'll have to like squat awkwardly, but after the shelf I'll have to get down. But we are coming to my slightly excessive Mercedes Lackey collection. I mean, I say excessive, it's not really excessive, because I fucking love her books. But I also have a lot of them. And not everything. I mean, the great thing about the woman is she is prolific as. Like, I want to be half as prolific as Mercedes Lackey. I probably never will be, but, you know, I'd like to be. Alright, whoops, that's part of that series. Then I just go to, alright, you know what? This shelf is currently being Mercedes Lackey, the non-Voldemort stuff. And then this is Mercedes Lackey, Voldemort stuff. Part of me is like, do I want to get rid of some? But probably not. But what I want to do is I want to get more books out before I start arranging properly. Brightly Burning, which one was this? Oh, I think this is one that James... No, it isn't. That's... Leaving Firestorm. Alright, yep, cool. Goes into that section. And then we've got Skiff's book. Okay, one of the standalones. Series. Okay, cool. Now we're getting into some interesting stuff. I had just started telling you about these books and then my camera cut off. Not quite sure why, but I might take a pause in a moment after I tell you about these books just to let my camera calm its tits, just in case. But yeah, these are books that were my mum's when she was a kid or a teenager. So they'd be from the 50s or the 60s, and I just love the covers on them. I mean, they're very old, they're very rickety, but they're precious to me, and of course I'm going to keep them. And Jack and Jill is an interesting one, because that's another book by Louisa May Alcott, who obviously wrote Little Women, and honestly I prefer Jack and Jill to Little Women, even though the older I get, whenever I read it, the more I'm just like, ooh, that's reinforcing some good old gender roles, but at the same time, you take it as a piece of work from the time that it was, and that's what things were at those times, so I'm not mad about it, though. Even if I had a kid and I was being all like, hey kid, read this, I would be like, read it, but just know that women don't have to be like that, you know? But yes, I am going to let my camera rest for a minute, while I also rest for a minute. Alright, camera's had a bit of a break, so have I. Let's get back to it, and I'm going to try and keep cracking on, because I realize this is probably about, I don't know, a very long video already, and I have at least 2.5, 3 shelves to go, so let's get on with it. My camera battery is also going to run out at some point, but I have a spare charge, but we'll see how we go. Alright, what we got next? Next we have a dusty Francis Hodgson Burnett 3-book set, which, yes, keeping. What we got here? Oh, another one that should be with my mum's old books. Copy of Alice in Wonderland. Oh, the Flower Fairies books, all of them. This was, oof, that's dusty as fuck. I mean, fair enough, it's just been sitting there for goodness knows how long, but technically I think these were my sisters, but we had a weird thing because our parents split up when we were young, and my sisters had a lot of books still at my dad's house, even though we all permanently lived at my mum's house, and it was kind of just a bit of a, I'm significantly younger than my sisters, so as I aged up, I was just like, ooh, book, and, well, no one ever stopped me, but I'm not sure. Technically some of these are probably my sister's books, but oh well. Another copy of Little Women. Don't need 2 copies, so that can go. Now what have we got? Oh, that's, okay, that's cute. Probably gonna go. Oh, maybe it won't. Okay. So, I think I've mentioned on this channel before, James has a really uncanny knack for just identifying good people's junk piles. We have found so much cool shit that people were just throwing away. It's ridiculous. And yeah, occasionally people just throw out old books, which, I mean, kind of fair enough, but one time he did find a whole stack of Enid Blyton books, and these ones, the Mallory Towers ones, I actually had literally that exact edition I had when I was a kid, and obviously as I grew up I got rid of my Enid Blyton books because they weren't really relevant, but now I'm kind of old enough where I'm kind of like, is it a bad thing to hang on to a set of Enid Blyton books? Oh, jeez. Sorry, the covers are like sticking together. But you know what, I'm looking at these and I'm feeling, oh, why are those covers sticking together? Oh, not my fault, they came like this. But as I'm doing this, I'm like, yeah, you know what, I think I want to keep them, so those can go in the... I'm developing a pile, like I'm sort of piling, if it's not by author, because if I don't have enough for an author pile, I'm sort of piling by genre. So I've got sci-fi, fantasy, old-timey, then I've got, I mean, The Time Traveler's Wife is technically fantasy, realistically, but it's sort of like literary fantasy. It's more of a modern novel. It's in a pile on its own because I don't read modern fiction. Anyway, what have we got? But then again, also got one of the Enid Blyton Circus novels. Probably that can go. I'm not going to really read it, and I'm really only keeping the Mallory Towers ones because it's very sentimental. Okay. Oh boy, are you even gonna come out? Okay. Another very large pile that I think is going to go into the... oh gosh, so large! Into the getting rid of pile is the Open Newton series. Oh my gosh, this series, so many feelings. So obviously, like, I read Open Newton as a kid, loved it, fantastic, really clever, and I might even keep... oh, but if I keep one, I'm gonna want to keep the whole lot. So you know what, I think I will keep them, because I did like... I mean, it obviously wasn't masquerading for a long, but I do really enjoy post-apocalyptic fantasy. I think it's a really good genre, and even though I'm not ready to commit anytime soon, I think one time I will, because the reason is, like, because obviously this is another series that took forever for the author to complete, and so then I bought the whole series, read through the whole series, and just after like 20 years of my life anticipating the end, it's always going to be a letdown no matter what. Like, oh, one of my friends in high school, we would catch the bus together and we had theories! We had fan theories about... oh crap, I don't even remember what anything's called, but yeah, we had theories. They didn't come true in the end. I think we thought Matthew was gonna be the bad guy in the end somehow. I don't quite know, and I don't even know if I'm remembering character names right, but yeah, the thought of parting with these guys as I held them in my hand and was thinking, oh, you can get rid of them, no, they're staying. They're staying for now. Whew, another shelf. cleared. Though I can't really call it cleared because they're all just piled on the ground. And another shelf dusted. And I just heard a car door. Let me check that that's not my husband coming home from the gym. It was not my husband coming home from the gym, which is a good thing because, well, I mean, I like my husband. I like it when he comes home, but I'm in the middle of something. Alright, what we got? More Brando Sando. There he goes. Okay. Now we are getting into... Now we are getting into my TBR shelf. So, let's figure out what we want to keep. I definitely want to keep Fish Builder just because I like the concept. So you're a keep in the TBR. Alright, this is something I picked up from an op shop recently. What's it called? The Hand of Fatima. Fatima, whatever. Keeping that. The Looking Glass Walls. I mean, it's an Alice in Wonderland thing. So, like, yes. Just checking whether this is a sequel or a... not. You gonna tell me whether it's a sequel? Okay, doesn't say whether it's a sequel or not, so Looking Glass Wars, keeping it. Alright, what else have we got? The Elven Bane, which is a Andrew Norton and Mercedes Lackey, but this is a sequel, I'm pretty sure, and if it is, I'm gonna get rid of it. Alright, actually that doesn't seem like a sequel, so I'll keep it. What's this? Book 1 of something, I'll keep it. Another retro sci-fi, I'm pretty sure James picked up this one for me, I'll keep it. Because my TBR pile is a mixture of stuff that James has bought at op shops, that I've bought at op shops, and a few things that I've bought new, though mostly stuff that I buy new I do tend to read. What's this? James Patterson Maximum Ride. Because this was popular. You know what? I just read the first couple of pages. Well, I just read the first page. It's definitely YA. It's written in the first person, and I don't think I'm going to enjoy it too much. So, no. And just like my no pile. I mean, I might sell the Keys to the Kingdom, or I don't know. Do you guys want me to do a book giveaway? I'll post them. Let me know in the comments. But what am I trying to say? When I say I'm getting rid of them, yes, some of them I might sell, like the whole Keys to the Kingdom series, but the rest, if my niece doesn't want it, they're all going into a book exchange. So, yeah, I'm not actually, I promise I'm not throwing out books. The only books I've ever literally thrown in the bin have been Harry Potter. And that was fun. What's this? Crooked Pieces. I think I bought this because it was like $5 at Kmart. Yeah, sure. Remarkable Creatures. I definitely bought that because it was $5 at Kmart. Alright, Disney retelling of, they just did like, what do they call them? Twisted Tales, where the bad guy wins or something for the Disney movies. That was $9 at Kmart, so I bought it. Stephen Lawhead Hood, keeping it. Oh, yes, check out the art on this. Like, this is another, like, retro sci-fi that James picked up for me, and I'm just like, angry titty centaur lady, like, yes. So I'm gonna hang on to this for a while at least. I'll hopefully read it eventually. What have we got here? Beneath the Dark Ice. A Matthew Riley style adventure. Whatever. I mean, I don't mind thrillers and sort of like those action novels. I used to read a lot as I was a teenager because my mum would take me to one local library and my dad would take me to a different local library. We're sort of near, my parents lived in different councils, so these libraries were different, run by different councils, so they'd have different books. And so I read a lot of random books because I could just go to the library, pile up on books, and then do it again with the other parent. So many books! And my camera battery is about to die, so I'll be back. We're back. Fresh battery, fresh SD card, same old me. Don't judge me. Or judge me, I don't care. Okay, let's keep pulling stuff. Oh, okay. this was from the side of the road. Someone was throwing this out, and this is from the Clan of the Cave Bear stuff. But you know what? It's mid-series, and even though I'm keen, it can go. And what have we got? Because I'm trying to stay in shot, I'm just literally reaching in blind here and just pulling out books. What do we have? Oh, this is a self-published thing. These are both self-published, I believe. Oh no, that's not. That's Harper Voyager. This guy is local, Duncan Lay, I think. I'm pretty sure he lives in my state, so, I mean, local. Very even bad as if local. But yeah, this is, I'm pretty sure, a self-published novel that I bought because, well, again, Reddit was talking about it. So keeping both of those. What's next? This is also self-published. I'm trying to... I do put in some effort into trying to support self-published authors because, well, that's what I'm planning on being. I do not have the patience to want to go the traditional publishing method. Also because I'm very much a firm believer in my first book, compared to every other book I write, is going to be crap. I mean, it's going to be readable and enjoyable and, like I say, if you want to believe that I can actually write, check out Penny Trader. It's in the description box. But, you know, I just want to write. I want to write lots of stories and get them out there and share them. I don't want to sit on a manuscript for 5 years poring over it. Would it become a better manuscript? For sure. But I don't want to do that. So why the fuck would I? So self-publishing all the way, and so support self-published authors. Including, please, support me when the time comes. I do finger guns a lot, don't judge me. What's this? Trudy Canavan. I think I liked some of her stuff, so yeah, sure, let's keep it. What's this? Evernight box set? What are these guys? Vampire. Caught between 3 feuding worlds. Okay, so like a modern-y, vampire-y, romancy thing. Sure, you know what? I'll keep it. Oh my gosh, okay. This is I believe, a short story collection called Quiver. I was given this by a friend because it's apparently fucking awful. Apologies to the author, if for some reason the author sees this. I'm sure you tried your best, and I haven't actually read it, so I have no judgment yet. But yes, okay, yep, I read a bit, and it's an erotic sex scene, but I am sometimes a very, very judgmental reader. I stopped reading a popular fantasy series because, I mean, I wasn't enjoying the prologue anyway, and then in the prologue it said, something, the mud squelched up through his toes, and I was just like, excuse me, it's fucking between his toes, and I just put the book down and I've bitched about it ever since. To the point where it's kind of an in-joke. It's like, whatever, it's not a cardinal sin, and I'm sure if I had been actually enjoying it for other reasons, I would have not cared. But I wasn't, so I didn't. But my breasts fall heavily out of the corset. I haven't read back to see the context of this, but has this author ever worn a proper corset? Because your titties do not fall out of a corset. Your titties are like crushed against your chest because that's what a corset does. And I mean crushed in a good way. Please don't sick me with the historical, don't sick the historical YouTubers on me. I know that corsets are wonderful. I love corsets. I'm one of those people when people are like, oh, but how could you wear a corset? It's so uncomfortable. I'm like, bitch, please, if you ever worn an actual fitted corset, they're the best. So much better than bras. Like, so much better than bras. Anyway, but yes, your titties don't fall out of a corset. This erotica is going into the yeet pile, and it's possibly going to get yeeted into the literal bin because the book exchanges are public, and I'm not sure if I want to put erotica into a public place. Alright, let's keep going. What we got? Ah! That's what I get for trying to be funny. Come here, books. It's okay. Come here. Come here. I won't hurt you anymore. What have we got? Oh, yeah, The King of Elfland's Daughter by Lord Dunsany. It's a classic, I want to read it. What's this? Okay, this looks like a modern fun romance thingy. You know what? It sounds terrible. It sounds like a very, very cliche romance, and I'm actually kind of here for it. So you know what? That can go in the it stays pile. What's this? Oh yes, another retro sci-fi. I mean, look at that cover art. Beautiful. What else we got down here? Australian Science Fiction and Fantasy Volume 2. From when? 1997. Wow. I'm not a huge fan of short fiction, but it's Aussie, so kinda have to. Alright, what we got next? Oh, another one of the Clan of the Cave Bear series, so that can go into the no pile. What else we got? Ooh, what else we got? We have an AC/DC rag postcard that got in there somehow, and a really nice bookmark. That bookmark belongs to James, I know that much. Because I don't have nice bookmarks. I just memorize what page I'm on and close the book. Because I also just don't care about spoilers or anything much, so if I read ahead, I don't care. Alright, continuing on with things that we found in junk piles on the side of the road. I don't know how well you can see this, but this is Upheaval. It's My Little Pony fanfiction, and it's massive. And we picked it up because it was too funny to let it actually go in the garbage. But, you know what? I don't want it to take up room. We have a friend of a friend who is probably going to actually read it, so we'll get it to them. What's this? Apocalypse Culture 2. Okay, this is uncomfortable. Sorry, I just opened it to that. I don't know how well that focuses, and I might just actually just cut that because I don't want to get demonetized. Not that I'm monetized. All right, this is. Okay, I mean, I just flipped further and there is some nice Spock fan art for you. That was an article about slash fiction. Okay, I think I gotta keep this because okay, there's recipes here about cooking babies? I mean, I know this is all meant to be like, well, if not satire, then... Oh, that was a fake corpse. I mean, I hope that was a fake corpse, not a real... That's in the out pile. Nope. Nope. Ugh. Alright, let's keep talking about books that actually fucking... An Instance of the Finger Post. What the actual fuckity? Someone's dead. Oh, fuck it, I hate murder mysteries. Go on. What's this? Tammy Huang Omnibus. Rural Louisiana. Someone's grandfather's dead. Someone doesn't believe in ghosts. Alright, you know what? That sounds like mysteries, and it's 3 of them, so no. This is good. Thank you, guys. We're getting there. We're culling my TBR, which is nice. Alright. Star Wars. Keeping it. The Passage. Okay, you ever get given books by people that you are then not friends with anymore? Yeah, that. I'm sure it's fine. That person had decent taste in books from what I could tell, but no. And then what we got here? Then we have some more Brandon Sanderson. I started reading whichever one of these is the first one. This is Stormlock Book 2, Book one. Oh yeah, I started reading The Way of Kings, as you can tell, it's Slightly Broken Spine, but then I realized that at the time when I bought these, well, only 3 were out. I don't know if he's on book 4 or book 5 now, I'm not sure. Given that he's said that it's going to be effectively 2 5-book arcs, I ain't touching these until the first, like, book 5 is out. Because I'm really keen, I did enjoy it, but it's a commitment, and I ain't ready for that kind of commitment. So that can go in the Brando Sando pile. Alright, now we're just into the weirdly shaped books. Oh, okay. A book on geishas, but I have developed over time a healthy skepticism for stuff about Asian cultures written by white people, so bye. Even though that's apparently one of the good ones. Oh yeah, this is like a Peter Jackson biography. I bought this in, at Weta Workshops in New Zealand when we were on our wedding trip. Dusty fucker. Oh, but I'm keeping that. Which pile should that go in? Put it with the Time Traveler's Wife for now. And what have we got? Oh yes, slightly embarrassing. A book about the Queen. I don't know, I just have an interest in the Queen. Keeping it. Oh yeah. Krista D. Ball's one of her reference books, which, yes, that's great. So I need to make a little pile for my personal non-fiction. So I'm gonna put it down there for now. A book on grammar. You know what, I'm probably, in this day and age, I just Google it if I need it, / I have a friend who's doing his PhD and is like a English specialist person, and I just email him when I have questions. Because sometimes I forget where the apostrophes are meant to go, and then I'm just like, help me! And he does, he's good, he's great. So, you know, who needs books when you have friends who know stuff? What the fuck's dropping everywhere? Alright, Pioneer Girl, the original Laura Ingalls Wilder thing. That can go in oldie-timey books. And what's this? Victoria's Heyday, which I believe I'm keeping as a reference book for Victorian times. Yes, I am. Will I start making non-fiction pile? There. Alright friends, we are definitely making huge amounts of progress. I need to turn the camera off, dust these shelves, and actually get down there to show you the last few books that are on the bottom shelf, and then to actually start, you know, putting things back in place. Alright, we are down on the floor. Woo! Way too excited, and I knocked a pile of books over. Oh well, who cares? Let's keep going. Alright, so... what was I up to? I don't know what I was doing. I was suffering, that's what I was doing. Yeah, where's my wipey? Ah well, who cares? Hand does not need to be properly in for it to do its job. Alright, so this is a selection of TBR stuff. Oh, okay, got a couple more. What's this? The Spook's Curse. Looks kind of cute. Keep it for the TBR. Got this one from a book exchange. Keep it for the TBR. Oh yes. See, okay, I love James. Because one day he came back from an op shop and he's like, I got you a Tamora Pierce book. I almost didn't because I thought you already had, but then thought, it's only $2, I may as well. He picked me up Trickster's Choice. Now the thing is, I have Trickster's Queen because at the time I only had the money to buy one of the two, and Trickster's Queen was my favorite out of the duology, and I could get this from the library. But ever since then I have kind of wanted to get it, but this isn't the cover that's printed anymore, and I hate having my matching, well, my series to not be matching. And so James was like, oh, but you've already got this, because I know I've read it. And I'm like, I never owned it and you bought me the copy I wanted. So like, fuck yes, get you a boy who buys you the correct copies of books. So I think I've actually got a bit of a pile of mess down here. Yes, that's correct, because, oh, The Raging Quiet, this is a book that, like, I loved it as a teenager, haven't ever seen anyone talk about it. This was a good book. That can go up into the fantasy piles up there. Alright, then what have we got? Sports from Hell. Alright, that sounds fun for the TBR. Productivity Ninja. Same. Krista D. Ball's Collaborator. That can go up into the sci-fi pile. I did like that. I need to get the other books in the series. Okay, there we go. There's the rest of my Tamora Pierce. Well, some of it. Project Hail Mary. That goes up into the sci-fi pile. Oh, this one was an interesting one. It's Agatha Von Trapp's, you know, what do you call it? Memories Before and After the Sound of Music. Because I have actually read the Sound of Music book. I don't know if you know that. It was a book. It was a book! And it's really interesting to read the book when you've watched the musical, because you get sort of more of the truth, I guess, about it. And it's quite interesting. And then it's even more interesting again to read this. So obviously the Sound of Music, the book, or the Von Trapp Family Singers, I think they call the book, is from Maria's point of view. This is from Agatha's point of view, the eldest daughter. It's just really interesting. I love that. What else have we got? More Tamora Pierce, Hatchet, because I had to read it for school and I actually genuinely enjoyed it. Now, here's an unusual book. The 13.5 Lives of Captain Bluebear. Now, it's translated from German, and it's a really weird and interesting book. I've had this since I was about like 13. My sister borrowed a copy of a friend or something, so I had to buy my own, because it was freaking great. I mean, it's got illustrations, and yeah, it's pretty damn indescribable, but it's a good book. I would thoroughly recommend. And then, oh, last of all, down here, what have we got? Okay, the Elizabethan Underworld. That's a dusty, geez, reference book. Another book about the Queen. Don't judge me. And then I think we're into, okay, down, crammed in this corner are kids' books, like, so, books from my childhood, and so I'm just basically I'm gonna be keeping them, no need to actually go through them. So, with that, we have actually reviewed everything. I'm really happy because we've got, I don't know, 20 odd books in the getting rid of pile, which is great. Everything's actually together and organized, because I lent a whole bunch of books to our niece, which it's a good thing to do. I'm not saying it was a bad thing, but then when she gave them back, I just sort of crammed them in, so it's not very organized. So now it's a matter of dusting that last shelf and organizing everything. So since this bit probably won't be very interesting, it'll probably either be time-lapsed or cut or whatever, but voila. Apologies for the change in lighting. It's about an hour later, and it got dark, so I've got entirely artificial light. But oh well, we are almost done. Just got to arrange these 3 shelves. But in case you can't tell by how, well, you probably can't with this lighting, these books are very, very well loved. Because I am a rereader. If I like something, I will read it to pieces. I mean, for example, look, Phoenix and Ashes. Look how, crap this book is. in my defense, I dropped this book in the bath because one day I was like, you know what? It sounds really nice and romantic when people talk about reading in the bath. Let's try it. The one and only time I did it, I dropped the book in the bath. Never done it again. So I've just realized that I've done such a good job that I actually have space, which means I can really not double stack. So I just gotta figure out what I want to move out to where. It's beautiful. It's everything's in there, and other than my Mercedes Lackey shelf and my TBR shelf, nothing is double stacked. Let me show you. Bookshelf is done. This feels so good, like you wouldn't believe. I have so many books in the get rid of pile, and it just feels clean and nice and pretty and actually well organized. I'll quickly run you through what I've got where. So up here on the top shelf I've got miscellaneous fantasy, Garth Nix, Gene Johnson, and a teeny smidge of Anne McCaffrey. Down here I got Star Wars, Andy Weir, the Windsinger trilogy, Neil Gaiman books, and then a nice big chunk of Tamora Pierce, because Tamora Pierce is amazing. This next shelf down here, which you can barely see in the current framing, is Mercedes Lackey, because I love me some Mercedes Lackey. All the Voldemar books are at the back, everything else is at the front, because that's how my preferences go with her work. I mean, Voldemar's great and stuff, but I much prefer her other stuff, especially the Elemental Masters series. That's what I really, really enjoy. Then below that, I've got mostly old-timey fiction and just miscellaneous stuff. Below that, I have a TBR shelf, which is also double stacked. It does also include the Oban Newton series, the Stormlight Archives, and Patrick Rothfuss's books, because those are ones that, well, they are effectively TBR. It's like Rothfuss, I mean, technically I think the Rothfuss books are James's, and they're good, but they're there because we ain't touching them until other stuff happens, and same with the Oban Newton books. I love them dearly, I am looking forward to rereading them at some point, but that point is not now. And then as my very last shelf, I have some non-fiction reference books, some children's books, the books that are kind of too chunky for other shelves, and then some Brandon Sanderson, because just I could. And no offense to Brandon Sanderson, because he's an absolutely excellent author who I really do admire and look up to, but I don't see myself rereading his works all that much, because if I want to reread, I grab me some Tamora Pierce, some Gene Johnson, or some Mercedes Lackey. That's just kind of how it rolls. But, like, look at it. There you have it. This is my nicely rearranged bookcase. I really had a lot of fun sharing the whole process with you guys and talking about books. And on the subject of talking about books, I am doing a little bit more book content on this channel. It's never going to be my primary focus, but if you enjoy book stuff, subscribe, because there will be more sometime. And until next time, bye bye!